أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطاهرين، لا سيما بقية الله الحجة بن الحسن فداها أرواح العالمين، واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أبد الآبدين ودهر الداهرين. اللهم كل وليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكن أرضك طوعا تمتع فيها طويلا. So how Ahlulbayt alayhi salam used to spend the wealth. This is very important. Why? Because then we can understand where should Ahlulbayt's money, khums, should be spent. So if we have narrations that they used to spend it like this, so in era of occultation, we can use that narration and say that this money should be spent like that. So it's not that scholars only have feeling that if they use this money in this specific place, they might please Imam. It's the closest way. Because Imam, if he was there, he would do the same thing. So putting the money of Imam in a place that if Imam alayhi salam was there, he would do the same thing. This is very important. And it's not only assumptions. And these are the type of the fiqh I'm talking about, that we need to convey that to the broader community sometimes, especially in Khums, because too many people talk. You don't know what they do with it. Who says is the right place? Well, Imam used to do such thing. He used to spend his money to release a prisoner. He used to spend his money to free a slave. He used to spend his money to cover a debt of a person. He used to spend money on a poor person, on a widow person, and etc. So too many narrations. And I actually wants to read some of them. I'm pretty sure that I won't be able to read all of them because too many of them. Yeah. So one of the narration, very beautiful. 512. قال الإمام الصادق عليه السلام, it's in Al-Kafi for Kulaini, أعتق أمير المؤمنين 1000 مملوك من صلب ماله كل ذلك تحفى فيه يداه وتعرق جبينه التماس وجه الله. 1000 slaves were freed by Imam Ali. How? He used to work himself to dig wells. وعرق جبينه. So let's say, okay, we don't have slaves now, but we have prisoners. For instance, the closest to slave. Or no, sometimes, yeah, they kidnap that person. He's a good person. Using him as a slave. For instance, so this is one of the narration. Very beautiful narration. Yeah. Amir al-Mu'minin used to have a garden in the era of the Prophet ﷺ, and that garden used to have, actually it was a farm. palm trees and other fruit trees. And one day somebody, Ruzi Mardi, somebody went to Imam alayhi salam and told him, I'm renting a house and the owner of the house wants to kick me out. Okay? And I don't have money to pay him, I don't have money to buy the house, I don't have the money to pay him the rent. So now I'm here. And Imam Ali used to have that farm since the era of the Prophet ﷺ. So Imam Ali alayhi salam went to the owner. What do you call the owner here? Landlord, yeah. And told the owner, do you agree to sell me your house and I'll give you my farm? تبيعنيها بحديقتي فلانة. فقال له نعم. That person said, yes, it's a good garden. فأشهد لي عليك الله وموسى بن عيسى الأنصاري أنك قد بعتها بهذا الدار. So take Allah as your witness that you sold me your house. Oh, okay. Yeah. That person told Imam Ali that take Allah as your witness and this person that you gave me that house. Apparently that farm used to this one worth a lot more than the house. That's why he told Imam Ali alayhi salam, bring Allah and this person as your witness that you gave me that house and that farm. Don't come tomorrow and tell me no. Imam said that's okay, no problem. I sold everything to you, even the palm trees, everything. فالتفت علي إلى الرجل. Then Ali ibn Abi Talib looked at the man and told him, قم فخذ الدار بارك الله لك وأنت في حل منها. Go and take this house, is your house. So it's Imam's money. He spent his money to solve the problem. So if you don't know where should we spend the Imam's money as a scholars, we have to follow how he used to use his money. Do you want me to read it all? Okay. Yeah, it's too many narrations, but I'm not going to read it all because.
Would it be more relevant, say, to look at how he spent the money of the treasury when he was the governor?
Yeah, that's another thing. And I talked about that last week. Imam Ahlulbayt sometimes have money as a governor and they spend that on a specific person and in specific situations, but they have their own monies as well. Apparently Khumus is their own money. It's different to Khiraj as governor. So that's different, yes. And thus we are looking and reading those narrations that talk about Imam's wealth himself, not as a governor, but as an Imam. And I think that's very obvious because who put an end to all wars of the Prophet? Imam Ali alayhi salam. He can take the biggest share of the cake. So in Uhud, who finished the war? In Khandaq, who finished the war? In Khaybar, who finished the war? So why he's getting more? Because he did more. He did more. Literally, he did more. Yeah. Somebody came to the Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and told him, "Qardun ila maysara, borrow me some money." And Imam told him, "Do you have a business?" He said, "No." "Do you have a farm? إلى غلة تدرك?" He said, "No." Do you have a business? No. إلى تجارة تؤب? He said no. إلى عقدة تباع? You have a house that you want or land you want to sell? He said no. Then Imam Sadiq عليه السلام told him فأنت ممن جعل الله له في أموالنا حقا. I'm not going to borrow your money, I'm going to give you money.
He's broke bad.
So don't tell me borrow me some money. Give me some money, you take it. جعل, and this is the nice thing. جعل الله له في أموالنا حقا, which can show us that Ahlulbayt won't spend even their own money on themselves. They spend it on people, poor people, etc.
Said, but doesn't that mean that فرق بين المعصوم والمؤمن العادي, or is it, are we supposed to follow in the footsteps exactly?
طبعا اكو فرق. انت عندك شك اللي اكو فرق بين المعصوم والمؤمن العادي؟
In what context?
No, I'm saying in spending their money, like giving. This situation, Imam said.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
The situation that Imam gave him his money. بس مو أي واحد يعني يقدر يسوي هيك. Unless you're rich, for example.
لا احنا نتكلم عن اموال الامام.
It is personal أموال.
لا عن خمس احنا نتكلم. احنا نتكلم بحثنا بحث خمس خويه.
سيد يعني الامام هم هو يدفع خمس؟ شلون يدفع؟
الخمس ماله.
احنا هسه الامام يدفع لو ما يدفع ما علينا, هو يعرف تكليفه. احنا بدنا نتكلم ان in the era of occultation what should we do with سهم امام? Do we have clear instructions? My argument is that yes, we have clear instructions by Ahlul Bayt that can glorify the way for us and make us understand where should this money spent on.
بس انت يعني you mean that الخمس money is حق الامام مو حق الدولة مثلا,
طبعا
حق الناس.
طبعا
هو يعني فلوس الامام.
طبعا فلوس الامام.
اي just to clarify.
بس فلوس الامام, بس الامام مو فد واحد يتبع هواه.
اي طبعا.
الامام هو اصلا يريد شو يسوي بالفلوس؟ مبقي له فد قاع من زمن رسول الله حتى يجي له فد فقير يعطي له اياه. يعني الامام هذا اصلا ما يدور على الدنيا. قال يا دنيا غري غيري. هو ما جاي يدور على الدنيا. هو يروح يشتغل حتى. Who does that? He works. Was expensive. Slaves were expensive back then. And he freed 1,000 slaves. Working as a builder. That's a lot. A lot.
Sorry, can I ask, is slavery actually accepted in Islam?
That's another topic.
يعني على هذا حكي we all deserve money.
We might.
It's hard to know.
Who's gonna give you?
نحن we're all broke.
Okay.
I think it was like in the stages of getting a boat.
Okay. To put an end to a dispute between two of their followers, or more than two of their followers. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, قال أبو عبد الله إذا رأيت بين اثنين من شيعتنا منازعة فافتدحها من مالي. Put an end, use my money. So Imam is giving order to his representative. Use my money that you have in your hand. What is the money that he has in his hand? Khumus. To put an end in a munaza, in a dispute, in a problem. And we have too many narration talking about that. Yeah. The other one is عن أبي حنيفة سابق الحاج. This is not that أبي حنيفة. قال مر بنا المفضل وأنا وختني نتشاجر في ميراث. Me and one of my family were fighting on a wealth. فوقف علينا ساعة. He stood up there. He stands there for a while. ثم ذهب إلى المنزل and told us, come to my house, and gave us some money. I said, that's enough, okay? And then he said, أما إنها ليست من مالي. It's not from me. ولكن أبو عبد الله عليه السلام أمرني إذا تنازع, ordered me, whenever you see two of our followers fighting من أصحابنا في شيء أن أصلح بينهما وأفتدها من ماله and use his money to put an end to that dispute. I think this is very, very sound.
So who's giving the money? The companion?
Yeah, Mufaddal is giving the money. He said, it's not my money, it's the money of Imam alayhi salam. Okay. When, okay. Yeah. When Zayd ibn Ali ibn al-Hussein was killed, of course they left widows, orphans. Imam alayhi salam ordered whoever lost somebody there, فرق من مالي في عيال من أصيب معه من أصحابي 1000 dinar. So he gave 1,000 golden coin to them. So families of shuhada. You got me? You get what I want to say? Families of shuhada, of martyrs. It's a place that money of Imam Zaman alayhi salam can be spent on. This narration is in Usul al-Kafi, I think, or no? إعلام الورى بإعلام الهدى. وفرق من ماله في عيال من أصيب معه من أصحاب 1000 دينار وروى ذلك أبو خالد الواسطي. Okay. Okay, this narration. دخل إليه صالح بن محمد بن سهل الهمداني وكان يتولى له فقال له الوقف بقوم جعلت فداك اجعلني من 10,000 درهم في حل فإني أنفقتها. فقال له أبو جعفر أنت في حل. فلما خرج صالح من عنده قال أبو جعفر أحدهم يثب على مال آل محمد وفقرائهم ومساكينهم وأبناء سبيلهم فيأخذه ثم يقول اجعلني في حل. تراه ظن بي أني أقول له لا أفعل والله ليسألنهم الله يوم القيامة عن ذلك سؤالا. Somebody went to Imam Jawad alayhi salam and told him that I use your money. Just accept that. Imam said, okay. And when he went, then Imam told the rest of his companions that somebody comes to me and tells me that I use your money. What do you expect me to tell him? To fight with him? No, you have to pay. But Allah will question them in the day of judgment. Allah will question them. Yeah, except that I just sold your car, man. Oh, I needed to go to Fiji, sold my car. Ahlulbayt are polite. They're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh. And then he didn't say that I will stop him in the day of judgment. He said Allah will stop him. Why Allah stops him? Because Imam won't say it, but he wasn't pleased. Because that money should be spent on right places. Not that Imam wants to use that money for himself, to build a luxury life. No. He wants to give it to poor or to give it to even his family, no problem with that. To live with dignity. Yeah. 524. كنا مع رسول الله في جنازة فلما وضعت قال هل على صاحبكم من دين. Okay. Somebody passed away that they put his janazah in front of the Prophet. Does he owe anyone money? They said yes, 2 dirham. Then the Prophet said, okay, you pray on him. فقال علي, subhanallah, Ali ibn Abi Talib said, I will pay them. I will cover his debt. Then the Prophet said, Allahu Akbar. Apparently he was able to pay his debt, but he didn't. But the beautiful thing that was very awkward for the Prophet not to pray, awkward for them, not for the Prophet. Imam Ali didn't want that to happen. He said, okay, I'll give the 2 dirham, no problem. Even if he doesn't want to give it, I will give it so the Prophet prays on him.
Wait, so say if the person is Madun, the Prophet can't pray on him?
No, the Prophet, if he was able to pay, yes. Why should the Prophet pray on him? لا تصلي عليه. He's munafiq.
Oh, he was a munafiq?
لا يعني it's not واجب on the Prophet to pray on him.
Yeah.
القضايا العلمية شيخ العنوان أنا. معقولة؟ أن رجلا من الرهبان أسلم على يده إلى أن قال فدعا أبو إبراهيم يعني الإمام الكاظم عليه السلام بجبة خزن وقميص قوهي وطيلسان وخف وقلنسوة فأعطاه إياه وصلى الظهر وقال اختتن فقال قد اختتنت في سابعين. Yeah. So somebody converted to Islam. Imam al-Kadhim gave him some clothes as a gift. From his money, of course, not from the government's money.
He told him to get sleep.
Yeah. العزاء عليهم. عن أبي عبد الله قال لي أبي يا جعفر. Imam al-Baqir told Imam al-Sadiq أوقف لي من مالي كذا وكذا لنوادب تندبني 10 سنين بمنى أيام منى. Separate some of my money. So after I pass away, reciters, Nawadib means reciters, come to Mina every year and hold majalis for me. And thus scholars say, spending the money of Imam to establish a majlis for Imam Hussein. I can remember, I've heard the whole classes of Ayatollah Sayyid al-Khoy rahmatullah alayh on Khamas. And he said, إقامة العزاء مجلس العزاء على الإمام الحسين عليه السلام. Because it's been mentioned in our narration. No, don't give money to Azza al-Imam al-Hussein. There are people who are in need. As if he doesn't give here, he goes and gives it. He goes and gives it to poor people. He doesn't. Would go with using the money to Bali. But he just doesn't want that money to go to the pocket of Ahlulbayt alayhim salam and Iqamat al-Azza ala Ahlulbayt alayhim salam. This is the problem. بناء المساجد 593. عن عبد الله بن سنة عن أبي عبد الله سمعت يقول إن رسول الله بنى مسجده بالسميد ثم إن المسلمين كثروا فقالوا يا رسول الله أمرت بالمسجد فزيد فيه قال نعم فأمر به فزيد فيه وبناه بالسعيدة ثم إن المسلمين كثروا فقال رسول الله أمرت بالمسجد فزيد فيه قال نعم فأمر به فزيد فيه. Okay. Expanding the mosque, building mosque. The Prophet used to do it. Okay, come Muslims and build. He used to give some money as well. They used to give money. So by itself, building mosque, إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر, is accepted by Ahlul Bayt, by Prophet. So we can spend money on that as well. بناء الحمام, baths. بنى عن عبد الله الدابقي قال دخلت حماما بالمدينة فإذا شيخ كبير وهو قيم الحمام فقلت يا شيخ لمن هذا الحمام؟ قال لأبي جعفر محمد بن علي بن الحسين. They used to build baths so people can take shower. What's the problem with that? And I can remember Ayatollah Wahid al-Khurasani, after Saddam's regime collapsed, he built baths for Zuwar and Karbala. Why? Why baths? I can remember back then people used to ask why baths, because we have that now in narrations. They need to to take shower. Why baths? Why toilets? Because they need to go to toilets. They need to perform wudu. You have to do, hospitals. Well, everyone will get sick if you don't have any baths and showers. Then you need to build multiple hospitals. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, too many other narrations that I don't want to take too much of your time, but I have one point here, and that point is we have instructions, and we can get more information about how Ahlulbayt alayhi salam used to gain their money and how they used to spend their money. And if we know that, then we can understand where the money of Imam al-Zaman should go in the era of occultation. Should we bury it? Should we eat it? Okay. If I owe you money and I can't reach you, should I eat that money? No. They say you have to pay it on your behalf to a faqir. If you come, I'm going to tell you, okay, I paid it to faqir. Would you accept that? If you say no, I have to pay you, then the thawab will come to me. And if you accept, it's going to be for you, the thawab. So we have instructions, and we have to follow that instruction.
بس instructions بس للفقيه مو يعني مو
We said that why we cannot use the money of Imam al-Zaman Sahm Imam, because we have in the verse وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ مَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ. And then Imam said, مَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ فَهُوَ لِلرَّسُولِ يَفْعَلُ فِيهِ مَا يَشَاءُ. Whatever is for Allah would go to the Prophet, and the Prophet would do what is appropriate with it. So if Imam, and then they say, وَمَا كَانَ لِلرَّسُولِ فَهُوَ لِلْإِمَامِ يَفْعَلُ فِيهِ مَا شَاءُ. And whatever belongs to the Prophet will go to the Imam, and he will do what is appropriate with it. So when Imam is in occultation, if a woman wants to get divorced of her husband because her husband is not spending on her, okay, can she come to one of us and says, let's say we are normal people, okay, I want to divorce? Yes. طلقتها. No, she has to go to a mujtahid, a faqih. Because apparently that's Imam's position. And I'm not saying fuqaha has Imam's position, of course not. But it's somehow related to Imam's position. So in the era of the limited occultation, غيبة الصغرى was limited. We have in some narrations limited. So Hussein ibn Ruh, Muhammad ibn Uthman. In the era of full occultation, the closest to Imam is to give it to a faqih. That's why. And sometimes, for instance, Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani, he doesn't want the money. He said, whoever is living in Iraq, I give him the permission to spend the money of Imam, Sahm Imam, appropriately. He doesn't need to bring it to us. So he was able to say no. But he trusts them. And he doesn't have the enough ability to spend the money in appropriate places in Iraq. He said, just go. Do whatever you see. Give it to Husseyniyat, give it to... And he knows that they spend that money on Husseyniyat, on masajid, on schools, on hospitals. Go and do it. You have my permission. So it's not monopoly. They just want to make sure that people spend the money on the right place. And thus, too many people, when they go to scholars, I want to spend this money on that Husseyniyat, this project. They say that's okay. Just spend that.
More complicated than that.
Sorry?
It's interesting you say that, Sayyid, but it's not the view that we tend to get from the general community.
Yeah.
It's is like we have to have permission from Sayyid Sistani to spend this money. We have to go through this process of getting permission. Because I was going to ask you the same thing, like, why are we always sending our money to Sayyid Sistani? I'm with you on the point that the faqih is going to make the best judgment about how to spend the money. But some people ask questions like, we need money spent in the community here. Why can't we, this masjid needs money to build the extension.
I think I solved that problem
Why can't
2
we
weeks
just give,
ago.
Why can't we just give the money to the masjid?
Usually, especially for so many masajid here, I know they have the permission, the full permission. To not full? Okay.
Many no.
Okay. So what I want to say, if you follow Sayyid Sistani has a fatwa that you have to give the money of Sahm Imam as a precaution action to the A'lam. But as a precaution. Sheikh Wahid doesn't have that fatwa. So you can go to Sheikh Al-Wahid or other scholars. You don't need to give it to Sayyid Sistani. You can give it to any other faqih.
Sheikh Wahid says any faqih, any mujtahid.
Yeah. Not only Sheikh Al-Wahid, too many other people. Sahib Al-Urwa, too many other people. Too many other scholars.
We still
Even
can't-
Sayyid Sistani doesn't have a fatwa. He has a
Yeah.
precaution action. It's a precaution.
Mm.
احتياط وجوبي.
And you can refer to another.
Usually people don't know that.
Yeah.
And we don't usually tell because we don't want to make a Mexican way here. But this is the reality. Okay. So yes, I'm not sure about Iraq. I don't want it to be spent on Iraq. Okay, give it whatever you want, but give it to a scholar that you trust, a faqih that you trust. That's okay. Because Sayyid Sistani says as a precaution action, but others say no, you can't. Sheikh Al-Wahid, Sayyid Sadiq. Other than that, Sahib Al-Urwa, too many scholars. I mean, alive and dead scholars. So, I don't think it's a big hassle. It's like, I know in some, I'm not going to mention any country, in some countries, who you follow is a big problem. When a man wants to make a proposal to a lady, who do you follow? Who do you do taqleed? What do you mean? But they are sensitive about that. For us, it's not that sensitive. We're not that sensitive. But some communities are very sensitive. Okay? And some others no. They're not that sensitive. So hummus is not sensitive. It shouldn't be sensitive. It must not be sensitive. It should be spent on the right place.
Let's say a center does have permission, we can give the money to a center, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if they've got permission, that's clear. But what's not clear is, why do I specifically need to get Sayyid Sistani's permission?
I said not only say Sistani, you can
Yeah.
get any permission of anyone.
But it still needs to be obviously like a
A
mushtahid.
scholar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mujtahid.
Is
You
it
can't
'cause
take
in
you
the
can't
place
seek
of the
permission of Peter Dutton.
The problem is you ask the scholars, they won't give you the permission. They'll tell you go to
Well, it depends because if they don't know you, it's an anonymous person. You can't. But if somebody knows you, and because he gonna take the responsibility that this money would get spent on that occasion. So if I know you, for instance, if you tell me, I would say yes. You want to spend it on a program? Spend it, because I know you. But if I don't know you, just somebody comes to me and says, I want to spend that. I don't know him. I can't take the responsibility because it's going to be my responsibility. That's the problem. So it's not or sometimes, yes, you say you need that, but they say that poor people are dying out of hunger, let's say in Africa, and they know them and they begging for some money. He said, listen, I don't have a problem. I told you, Sheikh Al-Wahid was asked, okay, we want some to spend Sahm Imam on channels. He said, it's very good to spend on channels, but not from Sahm Imam. I cannot give that permission because we don't have that in our narrations. So he's following literally narrations. Thus he is building what? Baths. Thus he is building schools, hospitals, and etc. Freeing people from prison. So this is his mentality. I might say, okay, it's arguable. No, we are in 2025. You might say that, I might say that, but he has his own rule. So that's the thing. I can remember once, I went to Sheikh Al-Wahid and asked him a question. Yes, we gave Khumus, I spent it there, gave it to that marja. I said, that's okay. That's okay. So again, it's not monopoly. It's not that they want to give, because it's not their money. They have to spend it as well. Yeah, I haven't seen this narration, but my teacher, Allama Sheikh Baqir al-Huda, used to tell me that, always used to say it, that one of Imam al-Sadiq's, I think, one of Ahlulbayt's representative used to give Ahlulbayt's money to poor people and those who are in need. And they used to thank him. Then he used to go back to him and cry. His family used to tell him, why are you crying? He used to say, because people are thanking me. It's not my money, it's them. Why they are thanking me? I'm no one. Yeah, that's the thing. I can remember, probably Sayyid Ahmed al-Khunsari, rahmatullah alayhi, Ayatollah Sayyid Ahmed al-Khunsari, some of our friends know him. I sometimes mention his name. When people used to give him khumus, he was very muhtat. He used to tell them, okay, give me the permission to spend it on your behalf as well. So joint permission, me and you. I'm gonna spend it on this place, or general permission, because just as out of ihtiyat and precaution, I need your permission as well to spend it on these places. So yeah, that's Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.